Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've got a balanced rack. I don't have a bingo here. I can play Marvel. And I think I will. Well, again, no bingo. But I do have scoring tiles and a couple of vowels. Marvel only takes an S after it. It would be nice to get rid of the W and the Y together, as well as breaking up the duplicate T, and that may be problematic. I could play Tway, but that's not going to score enough, I think. Now I do have Witty on my rack. Nowhere for that at the moment. I have Twice. Not great, burning most of my good tiles and leaving the Y. The V stops a parallel play running over the top or the bottom of Marvel because it takes nothing in front or after it. Just wondering if I have anything in column 6, placing my W and Y on these triple letter squares. I don't think so. Okay, 26 points for my opponent. Now my E can go in front of the X, so column 5 now looks a little more interesting. So do I have any ATE or AYE words? Well, I don't think I do. Rax takes nothing after it, so there's nowhere for Witty. Tway is now more attractive because the Y gets used twice and I'm obstructing my opponent from playing in column 5, so I quite like this. Only 15 points, so I could be missing something better, but the rack leave is quite good. And I'm not really providing any opportunities for my opponent. That looks a lot nicer. I got inductee in column 8 onto the E of Marvel. I'm not sure about unsighted as a 7. I don't feel good enough about that to try it. Certainly a word I should know. But it could be a word I've tried before and has come off. Or it could be good. My inductee play could easily be blocked. Not too many openings on this board at the moment. I've also got in-cutted in row F, but again, I'm not sure of that, and in fact, I'm less sure of that than the other word I mentioned, whatever that was. Unsighted. So what about the L? I think that's the only other floater to consider. Well, that looks a good set of 8 tiles, but I can't see a bingo. Tway has really taken the X out of action, which increases the likelihood of my opponent playing around the end of Marvel. But I guess column 4 also holds some attraction. I'm just wondering if I have a 6-letter play, getting the C doubled. Don't think so. Now, what goes in front of YA? Nothing I've got, but an R does go in front of there and a P. Great, inductee remains available. I think bluish is good. I will challenge it. Yes, and there's no need to look for anything better because there won't be. Inductee for 86. I draw the Z, which is good, and the vowels not so good, although vowels do go well with the Z. So if there were a floating blank on the board designated as a Z, I would have Zoo Zoo, which has sort the O's out in one go. Just Zoo, leaving 4 vowels, not great unless I can get about 25 to 30 points for it. It would be nice to play off more vowels. And I haven't seen anything yet. I've got a 25-point lead, but that's likely to evaporate with my opponent on turn. I don't have to play off the Z straight away, given the vowel problem that I have on my rack. So if I could play off 4 vowels somewhere, retaining the Z, that may be worth doing. So I'm just looking at these letter pairs in inductee and gluish, but I'm not seeing anything great. What about a play through or from the V? Well, I've got nothing which goes after Y, A. Wow! Great bingo for my opponent. Back-to-back bingos for him. There is a new Z spot, but I can't get the Z to score twice on it. And I don't have any play through that A. So not many places available for Zoo even. Well, I've got Zoot for 33. That certainly is better than changing. It doesn't provide much for my opponent. So I'm really hoping that I draw some consonants. And I do. I draw 3 consonants and 3 very nice consonants. I have oration. That plays in column 11. Next to the H of gluish. I can't see anywhere else for it. But if that spot is taken, my opponent's likely to be providing other bingo lanes. Now, any other floaters? There's the floating L. Can't see anything through that. Or the V. UL together. CU. I'm not seeing anything. So, all my eggs are in one basket with oration. And I'm 30 points behind, so that should put me right back in the game. Now I note that there's still a Y unplayed, and Zooty is good, so that spot is pretty hot for whoever gets the Y. What else is there? Well, I'm not seeing any other options available on this board. In terms of bingos, it's certainly only oration. I can't see anything down from the Z. Now, that's fine because oration still plays in column 12. Only 21 points for my opponent. Oration gets doubled. Do I have a bigger overlap? I don't think I do. Very close. R-I-O fails at the last. And I think anything through the letters I've edited is going to be similar to oration, so I think I'll just get this down and move on. 72. Not great, but not disastrous either. Balanced in terms of vowels and consonants, and I have the F and the P for score. They don't go well together, and certainly the F is the less bingo-y. So if I play the F off with at least one of the I's, then I'll be leaving a decent rack leave. Great, my opponent's slowing down. 18 for verb, 21 for edited. So I'm actually ahead at this point by 5 points, so a pretty close game. Still one blank to come, and the Y, which suggests it might be useful to increase the turnover. Only 35 tiles left. But increasing turnover isn't always a choice you have. This rack doesn't provide many opportunities. So the obvious play is if and of, but then if does take quite a number of front hooks, so I'm inviting a 30 or 40 point play. I could play if and off up here for 20 points, which is a pretty minimalistic play. Row C not really available, with 2 vowels followed by 2 consonants to overlap. This rack leave isn't great. It's theoretically good in the sense that there are more vowels than consonants, no duplicates, only one tile scoring more than 1 point. However, there's no E, there's no S. It doesn't feel massively bingo-y, and I'm only getting 20 points for if, and I'm not turning tiles over. I could play of 29 points, but that's opening up column 1. Let me put this back. I've got 15 minutes on my clock. Surely I can do more. What about a play in column F down through the A? So feign, for example. 24 points. Although that's affecting the vowel consonant balance detrimentally, it is turning over 1 more tile. I'm just wondering if I can play off the F and the P anywhere. They're not great tiles, certainly not on this board. I could play Paddy, keeping the F. But that doesn't score. Well, it keeps the F, which is the main problem. The P is a better tile than the F. I'm just wondering about a play like Fino or Foyd for turning over more tiles. But I haven't seen it anywhere for either play. Now, what about column 13? Because Hend is good. I could play Fid. 34 points. Now, that is better. I am opening up column 14 for bingos ending in S, and all 4 S's are still to come. But a column 14 play will open up access to column 15. And I may draw the S, one of the S's myself, and S goes quite well with this rack leave. Now, what about just playing Fido here? That's even better. 35 points. I'm putting the O next to this premium square, but the verb obstructs the play down here unless there's an S in 4th place, and there could be, in which case I might regret this. But it also presents opportunities for me, so I'm going with this. Fido for 35. I dodge all 4 S's and I draw a duplicate P, I and N. Pretty poor stuff. And wow, 39 points for my opponent. However, he has provided a nice opportunity for me to unload my duplicates. I can just play Pin down here. Now, what about Pinnie? P-I-N-N-I-E. Tempting. This is when Void challenge would be great. 30 points. I'm going with this. Am I? What about playing Penai instead? $36 points, and I'm sure of this. I'm going with this, even though it is leaving available column 14 for the S ending, which was obstructed by Pinnie. But I had a slight doubt about Pinnie. I know Penny's good, and retaining the I isn't a bad thing, and there are no I's to come. Pretty good. I do draw an S. I can't see a 7 here, but what are the floaters like? Well, not too many to choose from. The Z, not particularly useful. Fortunately, I do have a P for score, and if I play off PA or PAI, my rack leave's pretty pretty good. My lead is only 37 points though, and with 2 S's and a blank out there, my opponent could be about to bingo. If he's got the Q, that may slow him down. But having played the S for a non-bingo last turn, that slightly increases the odds that he's got an S. And still a Y out there for Zooty. That could prove significant. I'm sure there are plenty of 8s with this rack. There's just a shortage of floaters on the board. The V takes out the T and D as floaters, and a floating consonant is really what I'm looking for. 12 minutes on my opponent's clock, 11 on mine. It feels like my opponent spent longer thinking than I have, but that's not the case. I'm just wondering if I ought to be taking out this S lane if my opponent doesn't use it, because the rest of the board is pretty non-bingo-y and I am ahead. So I could play P in column 13, that would obstruct it. I guess it depends whether he leaves it open and how much he scores, because although I'm ahead now, if he's got a massive play in column 6 beginning with the M and ending with the Y, I could be behind and I may wish to keep that open. He does score well, but he uses the J, not the Y. So P for 22, a pretty decent rack leave, still 3 E's to come, and it's a non-bingo-y board. The problem with this play is the score. My opponent's scoring 41, I'm scoring 22. He could easily catch me without a bingo. In fact, he is currently 4 points ahead, so I'm going to be going less than 20 points ahead. However, the rack leave is fairly good. Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do to take out this bingo lane. Great, I have scoring tiles on a non-bingo-y board. That's always useful. Now my H can go after O and my I can go after J, A. That's been obstructed. I wonder if there was an opportunity last turn for a PI play. 26 odd points, possibly. Anyway, maybe I played P a little too quickly, and I've got hankies on my rack. Nowhere for it. After my block, and I'm 6 points behind. So what can I do with my H and my K? I'm just looking at a play in row G. I would need an O to go between the O and the M. Tricky rack. AA is problematic because only an S goes after it. H goes after RE. 9 minutes on my clock. What about a play in column 12? Nothing obvious. Well, I wonder if a play in row C last term would have been the play. $14 tiles left. Sorry, 21 tiles left and only 5 vowels. So I need to look after my vowels. And I need to score. And this board is super tight. Hend takes an S in front. So at the moment I've seen nothing. Well, what about playing NAH on the grounds that N is not a very useful front hook, and I'm retaining the I in case I draw the Q. I don't mean front hook. N isn't a particularly useful first letter of a word. And 30 points is a good score, and this is a good rack leave. I'm going with this. I draw the Q, but I also draw a U to go with it, which is good. I've got feek and feeks on my rack, but there are no spots for the S. Remaining tiles pretty bingo-y. But I stand by my claim that the N isn't a particularly bingo-y first letter. There goes the Y, 41 points. My opponent is now 17 points in front. I don't have any Q plays with the N. 8 tiles in the bag. I could play cheese and ops, there being no I to go after the Q, except there is a blank. Now, do I need to play off the Q straight away? I do have a U to go with it. Is there anywhere good for my K? Just wondering about a something SK word. ISK, EISK, well, I don't have it. It's a shame Feek doesn't play. But not much plays on this board, and maybe I'm 17 points behind. Let me see what cheese looks like. 29 points. What if my opponent just uses the blank as an I and plays it in? He'll get 30 odd points. So, what about playing nuke? There are no... Wow, look at this. There are no scoring tiles left. None at all. So I am opening up a bingo lane. But it would have to be for a bingo beginning I or O. So either the O or the blank. And if my opponent bingos, he's won. I'm not going to be able to bingo back with this, but I'm keeping QIS in reserve. Is this the right thing to do? Why provide any bingo lane at all? Why retain the Q? So, I could play Kef for 31 points. I'm not opening a bingo lane. I'm opening a QI spot. I think this feels the best of the options I've considered, although it's still pretty risky. There's the A's and the O's can go after it. But I am going to go with this. I have Narqua in column 1. Amazing. Now, hopefully my opponent doesn't have a bingo there and is drawn to column 15, and I get to play Narqua. Superb. Well, it's not superb yet. That could be blocked. My opponent could just play AS across there, or ES. So, supposing Narqua is blocked, what do I have in column 15? Well, I have Chi or cheese, which probably won't be enough if my opponent bingos. But if there are 5 tiles in the bag, and if 3 of them are vowels, my opponent could have a pretty grim rack. I can't see any other bingos on this board, and column 1 is pretty much the only bingo lane. 9 minutes on my opponent's clock, 5 on mine. Ref takes an I after it. Can't see anything great using that. I've got suck on my rack, SUQ, as well as chi, and probably a whole bunch of QU plays. Quai. So I'm not going to be stuck with the Q. Well, indeed not, because... Yes, fantastic. 35 points for my opponent. And look at his rack. Well, I guess he could bingo. But, well, let's see what the situation is. Narqua for 104. Superb. Would take me to 407. No, it would take me to 487. I'd be 83 in front. I'd lose 2 on count back. My opponent would need to score 81. He's not going to do that with a bunch of one-pointers. So, my opponent can now do his worst, and it won't be good enough. Do I have 2 outs for my L? I have La onto the A of Jaga, and I have Li onto the I of Edited, so I'm not stuck with the L. So where's the most I can score with my L? The 2 options I've mentioned only scored 2 points, so I'm looking down a little more methodically. Elt for 3. Yeah, that's it. So Elt for 3, and if that's blocked, La or Lie for 2. 7 minutes on my opponent's clock. He's got 7-letter bingos on his rack, but they don't go. He's got Enterer. So does he have anything beginning with O, I, or S, all of which would play? Well, not that I can see. I don't think Sterner takes an S. There could be something beginning in. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So, pass to end the game. Well, let me just challenge this in case it's not good. It is. And the final score, 472 to my opponent, 482 to me, a winning margin of 10 points. So a high-scoring game and a very exciting game, especially with Narqua at the end. We can't examine the game in the sense of seeing the best moves. However, we can just run through the game and see what racks my opponent had, and also make any additional comments on my own rack. So this was the start of the game. It was me to go first. I played Marvel. My opponent has the blank. No obvious bingos there. Plays racks. I play Tway. That looks pretty good. Surely a bingo here. Yep, gluish. I then have Inductee. And this was a great spot by my opponent, Coal Mine. And I had a tricky rack, and I went for Zoot in the end. Not a great rack for my opponent. And now I have Oration. Horrible rack for my opponent. He plays Verb, so this was when he was slowing down. I don't have a great rack, but Fido, which took me a while to find, scored well. Opponent's still in difficulty. GUW, a pretty grim combo. Plays Wigs for 39, courtesy of my Fido O. I play Penny for 36, and my opponent's rack is starting to improve. He plays Je. I could have a bingo here. Well, let me go back. This is the point where I played P for not very much. So, what did I have in row C? Well, just PI, really. Yeah, which doesn't keep a great rack lead, so I think P's not that bad. And I was obstructing column 14, and this rack looks incredibly close to a bingo. One hasn't jumped out at me, but there could well be a 7-letter bingo ending in S with that rack. Okay, it's still not come to me. Opponent plays Jaga. I have hankies, nowhere for it. Play Nar for 30, which I like. And my opponent plays Boy. And at this point, I'm 17 points behind. I've got the Q. It doesn't feel great. The remaining tiles look pretty bingo-y. My one saving grace is the lack of bingo lanes on this board. And after a while, I find Kef for 31, which I like. And look at this. Great rack for my opponent. Is there really no bingo beginning with N? So, well, it looks like there should be. And there could be a bingo beginning with ZA. I'm not seeing it. What about a bingo beginning with V? Unlikely. Well, except it could be VEI. Well, maybe there just isn't a bingo there, but a pretty agonising rack to have and not to be able to play a bingo. So opponent plays Tas for 35. He's now 21 points in front. He's got the blank, but I've got Narqua. Bang. And that's lights out for my opponent. Best he can do is Inserter. It's not good enough. And I roll out a winner by 10 points. So pretty exciting game. Delighted to get Narqua down. And that's it really. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. And I will see you next time.